Let's look at basic online search strategies for websites and databases. It turns out your results are only as good as your search request. So let's take a look at this document from Cal Baptist titled Common Online Search Operators. The first page of the document is organized in 3 columns. The first one here lists the various types of operators or functions. The second column is going to give us an example of what we would actually be typing in that corresponds with the specific function or operator. And the third column will give us what we will retrieve as a result of the different requests. The first and most likely common Boolean or function is OR. The equivalent would be any of these. For example, you might type Martin or Luther. In what you would retrieve are all records with either Martin or Luther or both in any order. The second operator or function is the Boolean AND. The equivalent would be all of these or plus. For example, you might type Martin and Luther. What you would retrieve are all records with both Martin and Luther in any order. The next Boolean function or operator would be the word not. Equivalents would be without or minus. If you were to type Martin and Luther, not King, the search will retrieve all records with both Martin and Luther in any order, but not King. The next type of operator or function is phrase searching using quotation marks. An equivalent would be as a phrase. For example, you might type Martin Luther in quotation marks, like we see here. This search will retrieve all records with both Martin and Luther in a particular order, in a very particular order. The next function would be truncation. For example, you might type econom, E-C-O-N-O-M asterisk. The results would be the retrieval of all records that begin with econom. For example, economic, economics, economical, and economist might all be retrieved by you typing econom asterisk followed by an asterisk. Another operator or function is the function of the wildcard. With the wildcard, you type words with a variety of symbols strategically in the middle of your word, if you can observe here. It can be a variety of symbols, but is usually a question mark or an exclamation point. For example, you might type WOM question mark in, or you might type Edgar, AL question mark AN, and then the third word Poe. Either of these searches would likely retrieve records, all records, with the words that begin with WOM and end with N and have other letters in between, like A in woman or E in women, and a Y in women, or retrieve all records with variations of Edgar Allan Poe's name. Another function would be proximity near. With proximity near, you would type N5 between two words you're interested in searching. For example, tax N5 reform. This search will retrieve all records with tax and reform if they are within 5 words of each other, regardless of the order in which they appear. For example, you would get records with tax reform as well as records with reform of the tax code. The last function we're going to talk about today is proximity within. Using the proximity within function, you would type the letters you would type W8 between words you are interested in researching. For instance, you would type the word tax W8 reform as 3 words, like you see here. What you would retrieve from this search are all records within tax and reform if they are within 8 words of each other and in the order in which they are entered. For example, you will get records with tax reform, but not reform of the tax code. The second page of the document covers information about how to analyze your topic, how to choose a search tool, narrowing and broadening your search, and finally, other search tips. Let's look at the analyzing your topic. It suggests that you start with your research or question or topic and break it into main concepts, trying to identify relevant terms and phrases. It suggests you asking yourself questions and creating a list like what unique words or distinctive names and abbreviations are associated with your topic. It suggests you think of societies, organizations, or groups that might be associated with your topic. It encourages you to look for words or phrases that are likely to be in any record or web page on your topic. Think of synonyms, variant spellings, common misspellings, or equivalent terms. What broader or narrower terms could your topic include? Under the Choose a Search tool, it asks you or tells you to always try to begin your search with relevant resources for your research topic. It tells you to keep in mind as you use your search tool, what do you get from your tool? Will you receive journal articles, web pages, full text, citations, or both? What is most helpful to you? What is the search tool actually searching? Records or items, or the actual content of the items. If the search tool has a keyword search, what does it do? What search operators does the search tool use? What are ways you can limit your search? By date, by domain, by language, by document type. Narrowing and broadening your search. For narrowing, you're looking for fewer, more precise results. You're going to try to narrow it. You'll want to apply any relevant limits depending on the tool you're using. To broaden, you're looking for less precise results. So you would broaden your search, use less specific and alternative search terms and phrases. And then the last thing it talks to us about is to check out the help or search tip information. Be aware that most search tools have stop words. Many databases offer the thesaurus, which might be helpful. And then lastly, if you're using a database that gives you records in a results list, Be sure to make sure you use the author and subject hyperlinks. It can always lead to much more information. I hope this has been helpful.